Welcome back, everyone, to WCS Premier League. No, WCS Challenger. You're damn it, Todd. Like, I just can't do it. When you get next to me, I get all nervous. Getting warm inside. WCS Challenger it is for Season 3, of course, where we will determine who is going to make it into Premier League eventually. James and Litot have switched places. Johan, how are you?
I'm doing good. I enjoyed this first series. Actually, my headset kind of exploded when the blink into the Widow Mine happened in the last game. But other than that, no, it was fun. It was good games.
Was it because of me?
Yeah. You were like, no!
Yeah, I was like,
the whole chat was like,
really?
Rest in peace, headphone users.
That was just, because we watch so much StarCraft, you kind of often expect how things go, and then you kind of expect it. And then suddenly he just does that, and I was totally caught off guard. Like, there's no way I expected him to just go for that ultra YOLO blink. Either way, that was a fun first series to kick things off. The second series is going to be a really good one, and I think a very, very competitive series as well.
Yeah.
It's going to be between LiquidMaNa and Happy. Two guys that you're definitely no strangers of, Johan.
No, they've been around for a long time, so have I, so to speak. I guess I didn't start directly when StarCraft was around, but I've played against them in tournaments, and I've seen them play in the matchup respectively. So I know kind of how they play, but at the same time, versus Terran, I feel like as Protoss these days, you can definitely mix it up a little bit more, but against somebody as defensive as Happy, it's always going to be super hard. I saw a lot of people talking about how we might see some very, very long games here between these two. What do you think personally?
Yeah, I kind of think so as well. I do think that Mana may try some aggressive play, but I think overall it's going to be very controlled aggression by Mana. He's not going to cut workers like we saw DMC cut workers. I think we're definitely going to see a bunch of oracles. We didn't see a single oracle in our first PvT, but I think we are going to see an oracle opening at least once, maybe twice this series. And I mean, we all know Happy, right? Happy likes to take his time. He likes to just be patient and slow. Sometimes even mix still in the Ghost as well. One of the last European resistance that believes that Ghost Viking can defeat High Templar Colossus. A lot of Terrans have given up, but he still believes.
Yeah, he does really well actually with them in comparison to like most other Terrans. That for most of them, I think they believe. I think it was Iagus who said one time, he was like, if you have to make Ghosts against Protoss, you're probably already losing. Whereas Happy, I think if Happy starts being behind, my own experience, I think it was at Home Story Cup this one time I was playing him and I was doing pretty well on Kill and Waste. He just puts down sensor towers, turrets, bunkers, sits back, take more bases, maxes out. And considering how he's playing against Zerg right now, which is the mech style with a lot of Ravens, I wouldn't be surprised if he started falling behind even a little bit if he went into this kind of game.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that a single Zerg didn't take Happy. Like, I don't think there is one Zerg right now that's like a best of 5 against Happy. That sounds like so much fun. Let's do it. Sign me up. Let's play this very important.
Firecake, if you could select, man.
No, I don't. Well, maybe with the old Swarm most, but not with the new one. Thought. I think he would rather skip. I think Firecake plays a ZVZ, correct, on the final day? Or does he play?
Yeah, I will check.
All right.
There's so many matches to remember. It's always the tricky, like.
I know he plays on
By
the final
asking
day.
me, you don't just highlight that you don't remember. You highlight that don't remember too.
I didn't know. Actually, what I was trying to do, Todd, as a friend, I was trying to make you look good.
Yeah,
where you could just drop the knowledge bomb.
You failed, and so did I.
All right, we are getting ready to hop into this series. As the first map is going to be played on Coda, a very familiar map, of course, from the previous season as well. The one map that survived it from the more popular ones, so to speak. Over here on the left top side of Coda, we're looking at the Russian Terran player that wants to make it back into Premier League. Season 2 was the first time ever he wasn't part of Premier League. It is, of course, Happy. And on the right bottom side of the map, a man that wants to make it absolutely to the grand finals season, or at least to the round of 16 of WCS Premier League, as of course those finals will be played in Poland. It's a Team Liquid representative. It is Mana. And Todd, I know how keen he is on making it into the round of 16.
Yes, I'm sure he is. To answer your question about Firecake, he's playing Zenster. How could we forget? Every time you see the answer, it's like it was so obvious. But yeah, gonna be playing Zenster later.
So I was right about the ZVZ part.
Yeah, definitely. Good job, Kev. You didn't remember the matchup though. Yeah, I really like the announcement actually from Mana during the match election where he said, "I'm really happy to be selecting my opponent," and he made like a pun tagging Happy in his tweet. That was really funny.
I saw it.
Showed confidence too.
I am happy _SC2 to announce my opponent. Yeah, I thought it was very clever. Did you read the article that Team Liquid wrote? It was a great article with all the tweets embedded.
Yeah.
That was very funny.
I really like also when they say like we don't know what's happening there for like one of the matches. All right, the 2 passing ships in the night every time.
All right, I'm glad.
Quick second gas, by the way.
I'm glad you got it out of the way, Todd, in the very first game of the day.
What do you mean? Got it out of the every time it happens, you have to mention it.
All right. So what are you expecting over here from Mana? Like I gave my opinion, I definitely think we're going to see a lot of Oracle play out of him. Oracle into Colossus, into 3 base. He's not as crazy aggressive as DMC is.
Yeah, I mean, with that second pylon and where he put it, I think he wants to make something down there. And I think Stargate or Twilight, obviously, you know, like you don't really go Robo in a corner. I'm feeling definitely a little bit more Stargate here right now. Unless he wants to try something like quick DTs, which against Happy maybe can, you know, end up being quite good.
Now, Letot, you're a Protoss player as well. How do you feel about eBay blocks?
They make me very upset.
I feel the exact same way, and I'm still so surprised that we don't see this all the time. Mana did have both gases taken, and now he's mining with 3 and 3 of it already.
Yeah.
He has a pylon, or he has a probe on the right top side of the map.
What's really annoying about this is that Happy didn't even scout. Like, you know, like right now he just countered perfectly what Mana was doing, you know? Like he's gonna have vision there for a long time, he's seeing that it's not being denied, so he's gonna know that something's up and that there's probably a double gas.
Yeah, Stalker and Mothership Core is on the way right now for Mana, but his Nexus is going to be so extremely late. I mean, the Mothership Core doesn't even have a whole lot of
What
damage output.
Nexus, Roddy?
Yeah, well...
Stargate, Forgate, man.
Stargate, Forgate?
Okay,
This Reaper might actually get a cheeky probe kill over here, maybe even 2. He's going to get 1 already. That's a great start for Happy. Not only is this Nexus going to be ridiculously late, if there is going to be a Nexus.
The probe across the map is trying to strike back, but
well,
shouldn't be able to. Happy, what are you doing? Okay, he's going to get away. 2 more Raxes behind his Happy.
I think that's very smart. I really like following it up with a 3-Rex when you know you're...
Oh, I heard your cast of the previous series.
No, but this is a different scenario, but I think it makes a lot of sense in this scenario as well, don't you think so? When you know it's very likely that your opponent is going to be crazy aggressive. Why risk it? Why work with few units if you can work with many?
Yeah, but he needs to get the eBay, right? Because whether there is DTs or Stargate, he's going to need turrets.
Oh my god, yo, on this Nexus. The clock is ticking. 5 minutes and 40 seconds. This is more than...
5 minutes too late by Roddy standards.
This is 2 minutes later than pretty much the quickest Nexus after a gate and a core. Normally you see it go down at 3:30, 3:35, maybe 3:40, but 5 minutes and 40 seconds. You can't be pleased with this if you're Mana.
I think it's funny because if Mana had played it standard, you know, with the build you just mentioned, where you get the gateway, you start the Zealot, and you want to cancel it, if you have an eBay block, then you don't really care, because you let the Zealot finish, you get rid of it, and then you get your Nexus. So I think it might be a good option for Mana in the next game to play like that. And with the Stargate here being revealed, I fully expect Happy to basically get completely ready for this.
Yep, we see the eBay going down immediately, and I totally agree with everything you just said, but I think even when you know, Protoss is opening up rather normally, I think it's okay to let that eBay not finish, but just to throw it down and force Protoss to let that Zealot finish, and just everything is going to be a little bit delayed. I think the investment is still bigger on the Protoss side. Also, it means a later Nexus, regardless, than it is for the Terran. I have no idea why eBays fell out of fashion, eBay blocks, because I think it's extremely good.
There you have it, guys. When Rod is streaming and you're playing against him, make sure to let that eBay go up to 99% and go for it every time. And it's going to be so Russell already.
Yep. Even just thinking about it, Todd. Just thinking about my games last night. There were a bunch of Terrans who did it. I was not very happy. The games didn't go very well for me.
But you're bringing this up on yourself, though, by complaining so much about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm an honest
You should
guy.
be like, I love eBay blocks.
No.
People never going to do it against you.
I can't possibly lie to all these people watching a WCS stream for my own ladder points, Todd. I can't be that selfish.
With the Robo Bay here being dropped down pretty quickly after when the Robo initially finished, are you feeling like that because Mana thinks he's a little bit behind, he might try for something special? Look, he gets an Immortal.
Yeah.
So big pointer here already. They might want to try and go for a timing.
I mean, that is indeed something special already. Immortal's not a very common unit in this matchup. They can be good, especially late game. If you have a few Immortals in your army and you have Archons and you have Storm, they can definitely be very powerful to finish off those Marauders that take damage from Storms or Colossus. But getting an Immortal this early is very, very uncommon.
It's going to line up pretty well with when the Robo Bay finishes, so he can start a Colossus immediately. I really don't think he's going to be like a War Prism speed with like 2 Immortals. versus Terran. You can't really do that.
But he's also getting that Robo Bay. It has finished up. The Oracle is still trying to get something done, but has only killed 3 SCVs. That is okay, as long as it's still alive. That is the most important thing for Mana. Happy is marching across the map.
I really like the probe.
Yeah, maybe he's just getting it. That's actually very smart. We'll give him the alert that the Terran army is indeed approaching his natural. I think it is very smart that you got the Immortal here, Todd. Otherwise, you just wouldn't have that much DPS here.
Yeah. But at the same time, I can't help but wonder whether or not he wants to go for a timing. Still hasn't added any additional gateways, by the way. Mana is still on 1 single gateway, so I think he definitely needs to add at least 2 more here in a second.
Force fields are buying a lot of time for our Polish Protoss player. They would love to play in front of his home crowd. Round of 16. That's what sweet Protoss dreams for Mana are made of right now, Todd.
That is a lot of force field for 1 Marine.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
In total, I think 6 force fields went down and just 1 Marine has died. So I think that Happy is feeling pretty damn pleasant about everything that has happened in this game so far.
Yeah, just gonna add on the 2 additional barracks behind his back at home before going for the 3rd CC.
I would be so content with this if I was Happy. I know that my opponent is super late. Nexus, I know that Oracle hasn't done a whole lot. Like I think it's got up to 5 kills now. So that is very well done by Mana because Happy was very well prepared all along. So the fact that he still got 5 SUV kills over time is great. But killing 5 SUVs in an 11-minute game is not the same as opening up with the Oracle and killing 5 SUVs when the Terran has 21 workers. Then it hurts their economy a lot more.
Look at this. Mana wants to go for a 3rd Nexus before he adds on any more gateways. It's actually a 1-gate Robo Colossus build where he's going to add the gateways, I guess, with a big explosion here after the 3rd Nexus.
How are you going to
I saw Jim do this before, a long time ago in Belcher Vestige. Quick 3rd Nexus, and then behind this he dropped 5 more gates. So he was on 6 gates, and he just defended everything that was being thrown at him and was in a great position.
Happy is on double starport on 2 bases, because I really think he expected Mana to go for a big 2-base Colossus push, something that's definitely within Mana's range of strategies as well that he has shown in the past. The Oracle was definitely not surprising, but I do think that Happy is going to be surprised about what you just mentioned, that Mana went up to 3 bases of 1 gateway.
Yeah.
I mean, Photon Overcharge is good, Todd, but is it that good?
Usually not, Roddy.
Wow, he's also getting a Templar Archives and 5 more gateways during all this. He's just getting everything. Does he have Thermal Lens? Yeah, he did get Thermal Lens. So he's just getting all the tech. He has 1 Forge now as well. His units are in the right position. Mana doesn't have a whole lot of units, but the units that he does have, they are in the right position.
Yeah, there's going to be a drop in the main happening in a second, though, and he has 1 lone Guardian here, 1 Colossus waiting alone. I guess Photon Overcharge is going to be available as well to help with this, but he's going to need a big warp in. He finally went from 1 gates to adding on a few more, but they haven't been morphed yet.
Yeah, but like you said, that Colossus and Photon Overcharge, it's actually pretty good army positioning so far. The Cybercore is going to get picked off, so that's kind of nice. That means no Stalkers for a while. That's going to make it
by Gateway.
That's going to make it harder. He already rebuilt the core pretty much immediately. Mana knew it was going to die. And now Storm is on the way as well. The Oracle is going to find the Vikings on the north side of the map. Will die, but at least he got the revelation off. What are you doing right now if you're Happy? He's going up to 3 bases, but he's only on 45 SCVs.
I think he's gearing up for an attack, even though he doesn't have the Viking count here to really fight this Colossi. I think he has so much on the ground anyway, they may just go for it. 83 army supply to 53. It's pretty massive lead.
Yeah, I kind of feel that this is the moment they just want to fight.
Oh, Storm is so close.
Yeah, Storm is close, but it's not ready yet. These Marines and Marauders going to attack 1 High Templar. 2nd High Templar goes down as well. So 2 out of 3 High Templars go down immediately. 2 Colossus go down as well, Todd.
Yeah, well, this is not the fight that you wanted to take here as Mana. He had to engage in a poor position. Happy's going to snipe a Nexus. Gonna be pretty happy about it. All the Colossi have died except just 1.
Now 1 Storm is ready. The final Colossus is going to fall as well. And I don't think there is enough DPS in this Protoss army to really stand a chance against this overwhelming Bioforce of Happy in game number 1. That was so unfortunate for Mana. 10 seconds later and he has a few Storms available. Yeah. Those Vikings were actually focusing the wrong Colossus for a while. He could have killed 2 immediately, but in the end, it doesn't really matter. I just quoted Linkin Park by accident because Happy will take game number 1 on Coda.
This was crazy of a timing, to be honest. Like, when you go for double starport like this, you're supposed to wait until you have, like, 11 Vikings or something before you finally attack. But Happy was like, something's up. I saw a lot of gateways in the main. I saw the army in the 3rd base. There's not that many Stalkers. There's a few Colossi. He's probably taking to Storm. I'm going to go for it. He goes for it. And as the attack started, we saw on the right-hand side the upgrade, like, about to finish. Like you said, 10 seconds later would have made a world of difference here. 3 High Templars would have had Storm, and then, I mean, We've seen what can happen there.
Yeah, so then suddenly the Vikings will shoot at the Colossus, but if you drop a storm, the Bio army has to run back. The Vikings are exposed. Maybe a couple Stalkers can be wiped in. Stalkers can work on those Vikings. Colossus may survive, and we could be looking at a completely different battle, of course, also because of the damage that Storm represents. But Happy hitting pretty much the smallest possible window out there. Like, it's really hard to contribute that to... Yeah, I think he knew that Storm was going to be ready in 10 seconds. He probably thought it was going to be on the way soon.
Yeah.
Couldn't possibly know if it was going to be that quick. Maybe got a little bit scared when he saw those 3 High Templars. That's why he only sent like a couple units for as well. But that was just enough. He got 2 out of 3 High Templars immediately.
Yeah. His timing was off, actually. He missed 1 High Templar.
No, the timing was flawless, Todd. So game number 1, Kodak, goes to Happy convincingly. Second map is going to be played on Cactus Valley. Now, of course, very different. 4-player map. It's going to make it a lot harder to go for that eBay block, Todd. Unless you go for double SUV Scout.
Yeah, I mean, against you, for sure I would. But yeah, no. I don't think we're going to be seeing an eBay block. Might be seeing something different out of Happy. You know, he's been known to sometimes go for command center first. This map definitely encourages that. And Mana, on the other hand, he's proven recently that he likes to play pretty aggressive, you know, with Stargates, you know, Blink and all that. But really hasn't had that much success in his last few series that I saw of him. You know, he got a little bit shut down. Like, this was no... I don't feel like the first game was like super one-sided, but at the same time...
Yeah, it was just a rough game for Mana right off the get-go, right? Like you said, Happy didn't even go into the main base, but that eBay block was absolutely perfect. Mana didn't have a Zealot queued up, so there was no Zealot to be started. And when your Nexus goes down in net, you're at 5 minutes and 40 seconds. Yeah, after that, the game looks normal. If you just tune in, you see like, okay, Oracle opening, everything was fine, right? Like, no, this Nexus was way later than it ever should have been. And it's not only that he can only build 1 worker at a time for a longer period of time, it's also that he's building too many workers for 1 base, while normally he would already be mining of 2 bases. So his economy gets hurt twice for something like a super delayed Nexus. So it was just an awesome start for Happy. The follow-up was very smart as well. I really do think that Happy thought Mana was going to go for a big 2-base attack, and that's why he went super early double starport. And when he didn't, he's like, all right, then I'm just going to wing it from here. And he did great.
Yeah, I think it can be good either way if you think about it. Like, he gets the double starports. If he gets 2 base all in, he's going to have enough Vikings. And then if Mana's the one rushing a 3rd base, he can go for a timing pre-storm and do well. So nice game plan, I guess, by Happy.
Yeah, this is a really smart call, I think, by Happy. Leads 1-0 as the second map is live. It is going to be played on Cactus Valley, a very, very big best of 5 for both these players. We're just sitting here in the studio in Cologne. Everything is relaxed for us. I'm sitting next to my great friend, Johan Merlo. These players thought there was so much on the line for them. Happy, of course, our Terran on the right top side of the map, wants to make it back into Premier League. He was part of every single season in WCS Premier League, except for the last one, Season 2. Obviously, doesn't want to be missing out on that party again. A party of WCS points, a party of glory, a party of lots of prize money as well. But for Mana, it's more than just that, as he is, of course, the Red Protoss, spawning on the right bottom side of the map. He wants to play in front of his home crowd in Poland. The moment that it was announced, he immediately said, oh God, I really want to make it to the round of 16. If I don't make it to the round of 16, I'm going to cry. That's literally what he said.
Yeah, well, WCS is a pretty big tournament, man. If you lose at any stage of it, you might as well cry, because 3 seasons a year, that's, you know, quite a few months that you're going to have to wait for the next season. And I'm not surprised that we heard something like that from him. Not that I've ever cried myself. Not saying that.
No? Not even when I killed your Archmage stuff?
Actually, I cried one time. I will admit that, when I lost WCG finals in 2007 to Sky.
No. No, now you get so emotional. And it's like, I can't cast anymore. Producer, do you have a tissue for me? I can't keep it dry over here,
It happens, man. It happens.
Yeah,
I'm over it.
Good.
I'm not.
Still, every night you wake up, that greater healing potion should not have dropped.
That wasn't the tournament for sure.
All right, so Mana is unfortunately scouting in the wrong direction. At first, it's going to take a while before he finds Happy. Happy could potentially go for another eBay block, because despite the fact that this is a 4-player map, he's going to find Mana immediately. But I cannot imagine a world where Mana does not start the Zealot after he has warped in his Cybernetics core.
Yeah, and then this is no happy thoughts here from Mana, because he scouted the wrong way, and he got scouted.
He just does
very
it.
unluckily.
Like, I think this is smart. He's sending 2 probes now. You see, this is already worth it. Look at the amount of lost mining time. There are now 3 probes out on the map for this Protoss.
Yeah.
Man, it's really smart, because now everywhere the SUV goes. But still, though, like, I think this is great. Look at that Zealot. The Zealot is on the way. He has been chrono boosting the Nexus, so you can actually chrono boost out. As Happy is going to pause for a split second. He's just looking right now. He's like, oh, I want to appreciate that engineering bay block.
No, no, no.
You don't think that's it?
I was I was gonna make a joke that he might ask, "Are you seriously attacking my eBay with 2 probes right now?"
Well, I
it's
mean,
not worth it, man. Stop it.
the Zealot is out, Mothership Core is on the way, but again, we just keep an eye on the clock. 3 minutes. Obviously, this is a little bit fortunate for Happy. Let's not forget that there's a Reaper running to the other side of the map as well. This Reaper could run circles soon, because Mana doesn't have money yet now for the Nexus. So look, this Reaper is going to shoot at this probe. This is so frustrating if you're Mana. Man, I can actually feel my Jimmy is getting rustled just by watching this game.
Yeah,
My
like
Protoss Jimmys.
it's pretty tough. He has to send another one, and the Reaper this time will have a harder time sniping it because there's the Mothership Core. But can still do it. Maybe double additional barracks behind this Happy, playing it safe once again. We're going probe.
He's gonna has to be careful here. There are not too many ways for a Reaper to get in and out of the main base of Cactus Valley. But it's very funny because if you position your units here, you don't actually have vision of the corner here or this corner over here. And whenever I play on Cactus Valley, the Reaper just pops up out of the middle of nowhere. I was like, where did it come from? And I had units that were supposed to see both sides, but actually they don't really cover it all the way. But Mana is doing a very smart job, putting the Mothership Core on patrol over here and having the Zealot over here. And of course the Nexus. Like you mentioned, Todd, the 2 Rexes, are you a fan of it on a map like Cactus Valley?
I think it's a good way to follow up like this, no matter what, if you're good with this style. The probe that's not on the map here for Mana, I'm starting to wonder if you want to use that, but I guess he started the Twilight back at home, so unless he wants to proxy like a Dark Shrine or something, I don't think it's going to be used.
This Reaper, there's no way out for it anymore. Stalker will get the final hit off, and it is going to... What? What, Todd? 1 HP!
What do you mean? It happens in every of my games. Why are you surprised?
1 HP Reaper. All right. So now Mana is probably shaking his head a little bit. Of course, the Reaper is not the end of the world. It's kind of already seen what it was supposed to see. But it's just frustrating because if you move out as a Protoss and suddenly a Reaper shows up, starts working at your probes, and you end up losing 1 more probe. It's just one of these things that really bothers you. Even when it's just a single probe loss, it's very bad for your mindset and your momentum going into this series. Even if you are as experienced as Mana is, it's such a big series. You can't tell me that it's not going to get to you a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. And you mentioned that a lot, actually, how Mana might be getting annoyed right now by everything that's happening. You're going to lose even 1 more probe. Do you think there is any chance he really loses patience here and says, all right, enough is enough. Like you've pushed me far enough. He drops down like a few more gates and goes completely all in.
1 more. Yeah, I kind of almost feel so. Mana has lost so many workers. Well, so many workers. He's lost 3 workers, but the Nexus was later. He's lost 3 workers. His tech got revealed as well.
Look at his pylon on the map.
Yeah.
What's happening there? Is that just a reinforcement pylon? That's always the question.
It could still be that Dark Shrine that you mentioned as well, because he's getting a robotics facility. It would be a late Dark Shrine. I'm completely aware of that. But maybe. It's unlikely that it will ever get spotted over there. He has a robotics facility on the way, so he could go for a warp prism.
I thought he might go crazy and drop like 4 more gates there and keep it old school.
Yeah, that's probably what I would have done at this point. Double eBay is going down at home. There's going to be a Stargate, so the Stargate is going to be proxy. That's very interesting.
Since he's going for Blink, no Terrans, they don't get turrets against Blink here. So if you can get some Oracles and fly them to the mineral lines of your opponent, you're going to be able to do well. But man, I completely missed this army here.
This is really bad, Todd.
Which is massive.
Yeah, the combat shield is done. Stim is 10 seconds away from finishing. Mana is looking at perhaps a potential O2 deficit over here. He might clean this up, but he's going to lose so many workers. He's up 7 workers, but if I'm Happy right now, it's just Happy stimming. He's going to go for the Nexus instead. Yeah, well, Nexus or workers, it doesn't really matter. This is great. He could potentially get the Mothership Core as well. Photon overcharge in the main base. Will it go down?
No, oh, it does before. And Mana is trying to come back. His gateways and Robo here are going to get empowered. He's going to start losing so many probes. He's already so far behind his supply.
His army is not even strong enough. He needs to pull the probes. Because 6 Stalkers is not strong enough to fight 3, 4, 5 Stim Marauders and a bunch of Marines. Oh my god, it's an absolute massacre. 23. Oh, I don't even want to do any commentating anymore, though. 23 probes and the Nexus just died.
Happy, who bombed out of WCS last season, losing to Marine Lord in Challenger this time, comes back really strong against Mana here. Wow. Wins a very convincing map number 1 in map number 2 so far.
Man,
looking pretty good.
Yep, and Team Liquid having such a good track record in WCS last season as well. All the Team Liquid players just performing so extremely well. This was the first of many Team Liquid players in this qualifier. Later today we will see Red as well. The upcoming days we'll see, we even see Snoot later today as well. He blinks in the main base, but he's going to end up losing a few more stock as well. Yeah, what do you do, Todd, if you're Mana right now? I know you're going to say tap out. But
Yeah. there you go.
Sometimes you do. I just have to ask that question because I don't want to be that guy that just keeps saying that the game is kind of over. So it's like, what do you do? And then Todd like, leave. And then Mana left. I mean, losing the Nexus, losing that many workers. Oh, this is... I can almost feel the frustration for Mana. Of course, you know, we're both Protoss players as well, so we see all these small things. If you play Zerg, or even if you're Terran, you may not be aware of how annoying these small things are about engineering bay block into the Reaper sniping that probe that's supposed to drop the Nexus, into a Reaper getting away with 1 HP, into a Reaper killing 2 more workers. That's like, God, there's just so many small things that really add up, and it's very hard to keep your composure then.
Well, I usually lose mine after the first probe dying, yeah, but everything, you know, that kept on snowballing definitely didn't help Mana there, and this move out in the end, very unfortunate. You know, went through the middle of the map. Happy was on the right-hand side. Maybe got lost patience really, because you're not really supposed to do this move out. I feel unless you get more gateways, or like, where was he gonna blink really? Like,
yeah, especially on Cactus Valley as well. It's such a large map that you know that could potentially be things crossing on the other side of one of these patches, because there are many ways to go via the north side. Basically there's 3, but there's one in the center and one in the right. But then there's just too many cliffs. There's too many different paths on this map that it's very risky to move out as a Protoss, especially when you don't have a whole lot of observers on the map, which he didn't. And he was investing into the Stargate, which also meant that he had even fewer units to work with. It's definitely
he cancelled that in the end, right?
No, I don't think he cancelled it. He just didn't make anything of it because he had no money.
That's worse. Yeah, that Stargate, I mean, it was... After this start, it's really hard to pull off, and it really feels as if Mana, like, he was completely thrown off his game here by everything that was happening. Because usually, you know, you play against Jan, you kind of try and stay a step ahead in your head. So you're like, you know, playing against his opener, you're like, oh, well, he probably could have 3 barracks behind this. He's can have a lot of units, so you try to be careful. But now Mana, he wasn't really thinking anymore. He's like, I'm going to move across the map, try and be a little bit threatening, fly an Oracle in his main, kill all his SCVs. And in the end, when he started his army in his natural, he probably had a heart attack because he already knew that he was in so much trouble.
I do like that you brought it up. Like, first when he dropped the Stargate, I wanted to say I don't like it. But then when you brought it up, he's like, well, most of the time when they see Blink, they won't really throw up any turrets. And when I looked into the main base of Happy, it's like, there's indeed a lot of potential for one Oracle there. If it kills 7, 8, 9 SCVs, it's completely worth it. Unfortunately for Mana, he moved out and he missed the army marching across the map. So on this point, Mana, well, he has won a hell of a battle to face, as Happy is up 2-0 against him in this best of 5 WCS Challenger Europe. Our next map is going to be played on Iron Fortress. Not the most Protoss friendly map out there, but it's also not the absolute worst map. He had a great game in Season 2 Challenger against Hero Marine, so hopefully Mana can get some confidence out of that series when going up against this man, the Beast from the East. It is Happy that made it into so many seasons of WCS Premier League.
You know why I mentioned that about the Oracle? Because I don't know if you ever watched Moro's stream, but Moro, you know, he's a guy that's very vocal about how he feels about Protoss, and he's always complaining that you cannot know what's coming. And he's like, well, I saw a Robo in his base, an Oracle flew into my middle line. I saw a Twilight in his base researching Bleak, an Oracle flew into my middle line. I saw a Stargate, and an Oracle flew into my middle line. So it's always an Oracle. Like, you need to be ready for it no matter what. The thing is, if you open an opens Blink and you go for turret, then you spend so much money on something that's really not going to help you. So it's really hard to cover all your bases. And I think Mana was kind of counting on that.
Of course, the blue Protoss on the right top side of Iron Fortress is Mana, representing Team Liquid. And I do watch Moro's stream. It's very funny.
A real pro gamer.
He doesn't like it when we say that because he thinks we're making fun of him.
We are.
No. Mr. Anderson is a great guy. Mana throws down both assimilators. You know, one more small thing about that last game that we also didn't mention. 4-player map, Mana scouts in the wrong direction, Happy scouts in the right direction immediately. It's a lot of small things, but StarCraft 2 is definitely a mental game. There are so many pro gamers who often speak about it as well, where suddenly they start doing really well and then they just can't really explain it. Have you been practicing more? No, not really. I just feel great, you know. Somehow things are going my way. Yeah. I'm starting to feel really confident. And right now, the momentum is definitely on Happy's side. It feels this series has barely started, and Happy is one map away from qualifying to Premier League and crushing Mana's dreams of making it to Poland and playing in front of that always extremely passionate Polish crowd. Because we know they are going to show up.
Oh, yes. The thing about Happy is that he loves to play super standard with a lot of same openers and play sort of repetitive to some extent. So there's definitely a few ways you can exploit that. You know, back when MC was in Europe, he did some very smart stuff against Happy. Like,
oh my god.
Did that miss? Barely. He went like Nexus first, you know, back then a bunch of times because he knew that Happy wasn't going to be able to do much damage even with one Reaper opener. And just, not even in terms of build orders, like, if you can pick up on the fact that, you know, Happy in every single game he's been playing, you know, expand quickly, 3 barracks, late medivacs, bio-aggression in the start, you can definitely adjust to that. And I don't feel like opening double gas like Mana has been doing is one of the good ways you can, you know, go about countering this.
Yeah, I hear. There's going to be a Stargate before the Nexus. He sent out a probe, which I think tried to give Happy the idea that he wants to drop the Nexus super quickly, but the Reaper is still out here as well. He's going to run across the map. There is no bunker yet. Of course, there is indeed going to be a 3-Rex follow-up again, so there will be a lot of units, but maybe that Stalker...
Oh, that Reaper. Oh my god, here we go again.
Oh, man.
I just want to give a hug to Mana.
You know, the Naniwa emoticon, the Nani hug with Robert Olan?
No, I don't.
I kind of want to give that little hug, because right now things are looking a little bit dicey. Unfortunately, the commentator finishes up for Mana as well. Might get a single SUV there, but no, he's not even going to get that. The Reaper is going to spot the Nexus on the low ground. There is a Stargate going down.
Yeah.
That's something that Mana doesn't know yet, or excuse me, Happy doesn't know yet. He's going to see it as well.
And there's a probe either on the top left-hand side of the map. Maybe Mana really get desperate at this point and like drop down the Nexus or something.
Yeah, I don't even know what you're supposed to do. The Nexus, again, it's just been extremely late. It's been a 5-minute Nexus, and now the Stargate has been revealed. Happy knows there's an Oracle on the way, throws on the eBay. I mean, we got to give credit where credit is due as well. I kind of feel like I'm making it sound like it's all a little bit unfortunate for Mana, and I definitely don't want to do that, because Happy is playing a flawless series so far. He's just making all the correct calls. Has a little bit of lady luck on his side when it comes to scouting, maybe when it came to the build order that Mana chose and the eBay block and stuff that he went for. But Happy is definitely doing everything that a Terran is supposed to do. And, you know, he's just playing with a lot of confidence, and he's playing with style. And, you know, we're looking at it. We don't even have Fog of War turned on, or turned on. Yes, turn on. But if I would have if I would be playing right now, and there wouldn't be any Fog of War, I would play exactly the way that Happy is playing at the moment. It's just everything makes sense. Everything is perfect.
Yeah, he's done a fantastic job of, you know, putting a lot of effort into scouting is definitely one of the things that's important in Terran versus Protoss. You want to know what you're up against as much as possible. And in this case, not just that, you know, setting the pace with some good timings and attacks by Happy is what we've seen a lot.
And now this is not Coda, so if we're going to have a similar scenario, it's not going to be that easy for Mana to drop 2 or 3 force fields and keep, you know, not a huge bioforce up, but let's say like a mid-sized bioforce. 1 or 2 force fields do not cover this entire area. Again, he queues up the Immortal, which I kind of feel is the safety Immortal to deal with some early aggression that you have more than just Photon Overcharge. Yeah. But it's harder on Iron Fortress because there's no ramp on this map.
It's going to be tough for sure here. I wonder actually if he might want to go for the same thing that we saw in the first game here, where he went for the 1 gateway, you know, 3rd Nexus into a big gateway explosion. Because back then, remember, it was just 10 seconds, you know, that's really messed him up just before he had Storm. So the game so far hasn't been going nearly as bad. He's lost 1 probe and killed an SCV and a Reaper. So even though his 2nd Nexus was delayed, he's 42 probes against 36 SCVs. And look at this, already 1 gateway being added on. This is already different.
Yeah, I don't think you can do that on Iron Fortress. Like, I think on Coda it was already extremely ballsy. It showed a lot of courage. It showed a lot of heart. And he almost got away with it. But, you know, it just didn't really connect in the end. But I think on Iron Fortress, that is almost suicide. That's a suicide witch. Going up to 3 bases of 1 gateway, like, how are you going to ever defend all locations at once? So I think this is a better call by Mana. I like this. And let's not forget, though, this is game 3. If Happy wins this, it's all over. Mana's done for. That's not really one of these games where you're like, I'm going to try to go up to 3 bases of 1 gateway. Yeah. Iron Fortress, kind of tricky, but let's just see how it goes.
If Mana's not very confident in the matchup, though, like, I could totally see him, you know, try this stuff because maybe he's a little bit desperate because he's maybe, you know, practice hasn't been going well. And he's like, you know, get rich or die trying mental states.
Well, the Orcos is still flying around, hasn't really done a whole lot. If we take a look the units lost. Mana has lost 1 unit. Happy has lost 3, but Happy has just been in absolute control. Happy knows that the build orders have been favorable for him. He knows that he's done pretty much everything right, not taking any damage, delayed the Nexus. Gonna sim over here, gets the Oracle even before Revelation goes down. Yeah. Oh my god.
This is what I was talking about, by the way. Happy is very repetitive. Like, you see the double starports being played here, like just like in the first map. If Mana picked up on that, one great way he could have played here against Happy is open 1 Colossus and go straight into charge High Templar, which is what I do basically every game against Terran.
So you don't even get Thermalance, right? You just make 1 Colossus.
And then you have High Templars when there's a lot of Vikings, and you have a lot of charge loss on the ground, and then you still lose if you're me, because I'm terrible, but like you can pull it off a lot better. Like, if the opponent's not gonna have Ghost and you already, like, you can go up to say like 7 High Templars, you're gonna be able to do really well. Look at this Happy, by the way, covering the entire map with like 1 Marine on each side.
You know, Happy is known to be a pretty damn fast player as well. Even in the Warcraft 3 days, we already always give him a lot of credits for how fast he was. But did you see, he had like half a second or less than that to stim and kill that Oracle immediately. But he was paying so much attention.
Yeah.
Like, he just pressed stim as soon as he knew he was within range and just killed that Oracle. And he killed it even before Revelation went down. That's even more frustrating for Mana, because for us, this is kind of relaxing. When we see, okay, there's a Terran army in the middle of the map. If you're Mana right now, this is all that Mana sees. You have no idea. Are there Medevacs idling over here? Are there Medevacs idling over here? So it's just such a good snipe by Happy.
It's actually funny to see him play. Remember his keyboard? He's like really old.
I hope that he has changed it by now.
No, man. Never.
Still the Warcraft 3 keyboard?
Yeah.
No.
No, I think he still used the same like Microsoft really old keyboard. I'm not kidding you.
Well, that's he should sell it on eBay one day.
Yeah, but then he couldn't win games anymore.
I know, the day that he retired.
He will never retire, man. He's been around forever and he's still playing.
It's a collector's item. Hey, I'd give it a cheeky bit. You know, see how the month went. I'd bid on Happy's keyboard. 10 Vikings on the map currently against the 4 Colossus.
Yeah, that's a lot actually. Like, I think he might just kill him. It's going to be super hard for Mana to hold this. This time he's not going for High Templars. He's going to have 4 Colossi, 11 Stalkers to work with. Almost no mid-shield, just 3 Zealots, 2 Sentries and 1 Immortal.
And he needed to stand closer to that ramp, I kind of felt. Like, if he lets all these units go up, at least he kills the factory, so no high ground vision. That's kind of nice, but... So Mana really needs good force field. Oh my god, Happy's going to pick up a lot of units. Does Mana spot it? I'm not sure. I don't think he saw it there, Todd.
Yeah, I don't think he saw it. He has the Mothership Core in the main, ready to photon overcharge. But against 4 Medivacs filled with units, I can already see a dead Nexus.
Couple Zealots being wiped in. There is once again that anchor.
Oh, the Vikings! Oh, he's gonna try to catch the Colossi with the Vikings by themselves, I think. Never mind, he flies by.
I kept an eye on it on the minimap.
Whoa.
One Colossus will get
so
picked up, though. And I mean, all the Stalks so far.
We can catch them! Oh my god. This is really bad, Happy.
Well, I mean, I think even if he ends up losing this, but he kills the Nexus, I think it's okay. He got the Colossus, he's getting a lot of probes. Like, yeah, all these bio units will die. Most likely the Medevacs are going to die as well.
God. That was bad.
Well, if he gets the Nexus, is it still bad? I don't think it's bad if he gets the Nexus. And I think he's going to get it. Oh my god, Happy is...
Yeah, but the counter-attack, though, like, there has to be a counter-attack, though, right?
That's a good point. It's pretty... I would. If I was Mana right now and I know I just killed four Medevacs full of bio units and I lost my third base and I lost probes in the main, you don't want to sit back. You just want to go for it.
5 Colossi. And
14 Vikings, though. Mana also knows if he counterattacks and he doesn't win the game, he's in a lot of trouble as well.
He's not going to counterattack. I look at his Ghost Academy. Oh, never mind. He's moving across the map. Not sure just yet, though.
I mean,
he has no reinforcing pylon nearby.
Yeah, it's exactly. I was just looking for one. This is the nearest by probe. Is he bringing one more probe from the main? He needs to get a pylon. Mana, you really don't want to fight against Terran without a reinforcement.
Oh, Happy scared. He evacuates. Ghost Academy, Roddy. It's happening. The 50-minute game.
I think it's a good call by Happy not to take this fight. He just needs more bio units. He has lost too many in that previous attack, so I like this call a lot by Happy. And Mana's going to be satisfied with just this, you know, dealing some economic damage, delaying Happy's mining activities for a little bit. Very tense game. Hey, the Vikings are dancing, Todd.
No more flower.
A delicate flower, those Vikings.
Mana being on double forge, if he can complete that 2-2 before the next fight, Happy has actually kind of neglected his upgrades there. Yeah, he's only on 1-1.
Does he have an armory? Yeah, he does have an armory.
He has a single eBay. No, actually, no.
He's double.
I wonder if Happy wants to play aggressive there. There is Storm on the way, which this time I don't think he's aware of. And the thing is, There's a good chance this time he's going to complete on time. He has actually, oh my god, he has quite a few High Templars already, 4.
Because this Protoss army is too scary to just run into. Like this early game was good for Happy, but he also knows that he lost a lot of buy units in the main base, so he has to respect the remaining Colossus Protoss units a little bit. A couple of slow zealots.
Oh, the SCVs.
Going for a very
the boys.
Going for a very casual.
Apollo will be so proud. The boys.
These zealots actually doing a really good job. This is very frustrating. Happy just dropped a bunch of mules. Pretty much all the SCVs got pulled as well. This is not a small pull. This is an absolutely massive pull. Those ghosts could potentially EMP the sentries as well, but of course you rather get the High Templars because there is Storm. Scan goes down and somehow he manages to miss every single Protoss unit. That's very scary. Good.
Mana's actually closing in on 2-2 right now. Photon Recharge is going to be used. The Storm's going to be important. He has a few force fields to work with as well.
Okay, that's a really good Storm on the Vikings at least. Look at the Vikings start. They're taking so much damage.
Gosh.
This should allow Colossus to survive, right? A couple snipes going down, but they morph into an Archon. 1 or 2 more Storms, maybe from the high ground. Yes, 1 from the high ground. I think this is easily good enough for Mana, right?
Yeah, this hit way too late. There was so many Storms hitting the entire army of Happy. GG gets called, and this time he got shut down hard.
We got a series on our hand. For such an important victory over here for Mana. Not going down 0-3, definitely not going down without a fight. And again, this was a frustrating early game for him. Things didn't really go as planned, but he kept it together, Todd. And, you know, I thought that drop from Happy, maybe it was all right, but perhaps you were right in the end that it wasn't worth it. Even though he did a lot, maybe it wasn't enough.
I think he would have been okay if he just stayed home. I'm not sure why he kind of like panicked. Maybe his upgrades were like too far behind. Even evacuating, to be honest. Evacuating the third base like he did, it was a panic move. Even though Mana's army was really big, Happy had gone for double starport and he had like 11 Vikings. He should have been happy, no pun intended, that Mana was going to attack into him, if anything.
Yeah, it was even 14 Vikings, I think, by that time. 5 Colossus, 14 Vikings. But I think maybe the way that Happy read it, like obviously we see everything. So we saw that Mana was indeed going up to 3 bases again, didn't have a reinforcements pilot ready yet. There is a chance that Happy thought that Mana was just going to shove all out on this attack and that Mana would try to counterattack and straight up win and then just keep pushing in with units, and eventually if Protoss runs out of steam, well then the game is over because then Terran just marches across the map. So maybe Happy misread it a little bit, expected a super all-in counter, but actually Mana was just counter, you know, do a little bit of damage and still get my next transition at home going, which was Storm.
I feel like the drop could have been a brilliant move if he sent the Vikings in the ramp to snipe the Colossi because
they were pretty exposed because the Stalkers blink forward because they want to make it to the main base very quickly.
Yeah, the Stalkers, they have to close in on the Medivacs to try and snipe them, and the Medivacs, they were on the other side. So if the Vikings came in and even got, I think, 2 Colossi, it would have been, like, massive.
Yeah.
Getting that Nexus was nice, but no army of Mana died. So as Protoss, when you're getting close to maxing out, you have double Forge to upgrade, and then later on you can go into Storm. You don't really care about losing 1 single Nexus to kill 4 Medivacs, you know, worth of units.
Yeah, I mean, he did get a Colossus in the main base as well with his buy units, and a couple Zealots, a Stalker or 2, and a handful of probes, let's say like 10 probes. So, you know, overall, it wasn't for nothing, but yeah, if he would have been able to get 1 or 2 more Colossus with those Vikings, because in the I think he was just worried. I think he just didn't want to lose his Vikings. He was maybe worried that the Stalkers would blink towards the Vikings, and then if you end up losing 3, 4, 5 Vikings and you don't get a Colossus, that's kind of expensive as well. I'm going to let the players know that we are ready. It's great for Mana, though. The dreams of him making it to Poland are still alive, but he has a super long road ahead of him. Still has to win 2 maps in a row against Happy, and then he would have to make it through the round of 32 as well to finally play in front of that crowd he would love to play in front of so badly.
Yeah, man, it's unlike anything else. Have you ever played in Netherlands? In front of an audience?
Very small. It was more like bring your own computer, you know. Like we had like the DreamHack invitations in the early 2000s, 2003, 2004 for the Dutch people out there. It was called Net Games in Utrecht, very near Grubby's home. And then, you know, on the final day, there was always a little bit of a crowd.
Your family was there?
No, they just dropped me off and picked me up. They were very supportive, but they were not going to sit in.
Did you win?
Yeah, I won a couple times. Net Games was 3 times a year. Like, I would always win if Grubby stayed away. Like, it's like, oh, next week is WCG. I was like, Grubby, if I were you, I'd stay at home and practice. He's like, yeah, I should do that, right? I was like, yeah, absolutely, Grubby.
Sneaky.
No, you know, like, you know, if you go to a bring your own computer LAN, you don't get the same practice as you get at home.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, we're going to get ready to hop into game number 4, which is going to be played on Terraform. As in this very, very important best of 5 for these 2 still young players, I'd say. Over here on the right bottom side of Terraform, looked flawless in game number 1 and game number 2, and looked pretty good in game number 3 as well, but wasn't able to close it out. It is Happy, the Russian monster and WCS Premier League veteran, so to speak, as he made it into 7 out of the 8 potential seasons he could have played in, and wants to go for 8 out of 9 over here on the left top side of the map. We're looking at the Polish Protoss representing Team Liquid. It is, of course, Mana. And a great comeback against Hero Marine in WCS Challenges Season 2. This would be an even greater comeback. This would be a comeback that you can speak of for a long, long time.
Kind of like all your victories, right? You always talk about. It was too easy.
I didn't really have a whole lot of victories, Todd, so let me brag a little bit about them. We can't all be Johan, the superstar Merlot, legend from Warcraft 3.
Kappa. I mean, Happy, like I said, there's definitely a few trends that you can pick up from how he's been playing. What do you think would be a smart way, actually, to play against him? Like, I think opening one gas, you know, Zealot, like I said before, and make sure that you can get your Nexus down very quickly could be one of a good way. But look already, Mana, again, going for the double gas. And then I think if you drop down 2 additional gateways and you go for sentries, like you've talked about before as well, and then you let Liam attack you, you break the rocks and you trap him with force fields. Okay, maybe not that far, but...
No, I think the early phase, I 100% agree with you. I would go 1 gas, queue up the Zealot. If he goes for an EWA block, I'd let the Zealot finish. And if not, I would probably go 1 gate Robo and then add 2 gates very quickly. And then you can still get that safety Immortal and then just go up to Colossus. Because that's, of course, one of the, you know, not weaknesses, so to speak, but one of the reasons why a lot of Terran players stopped going for 3-Rex is they just felt they couldn't do anything with it. They were just sitting there with all these bio units, and Protoss was just sitting 1 gate, robotics facility, observers, Colossus on the way. And then as a Terran, you're just like, man, I wish I would have quicker medevac so I can actually do something. And that's why the factory follow-up became so popular. But, you know, since Happy is going 3-Rex every single game, I would go 1 gate Robo and then just add 2 more gateways.
But if you know that he likes to go double starport very quickly behind his, then what do you do? Because I feel like the previous game was a one-time occurrence where like Mana was able to do well somehow after defending the drop in the main. Like having that happen again, the same game plan and style of game is going to be really hard, no?
No, I think what you mentioned earlier, and that is, like, I always refer to Sasa, our good old friend from Warcraft 3, and of course StarCraft 2 as well. He was one of the first Protoss players I saw using that build, where you go 1 Colossus, no thermal lens, and you just rush up the Storm. You know, for a little bit of StarCraft memory. He actually did it against Jinro at the Home Story Cup. And I never forget it, because I looked at it, I was like, man, that's so smart. Like, this Terran's making all these Vikings, and he's just going up to Storm very quickly. And I thought that was a brilliant call. So I think that something like that could indeed be very good against someone like Happy, who, like you mentioned, Todd, can be pretty repetitive.
Yeah. Look at that Ninja Reaper there. Trying to make it to the main to see the Twilight Council that's being put down already by Mana before the Nexus even goes down.
Oh my god, he could move it forward and block the Nexus from going down. Oh, and just
does this ever end?
Couple seconds. 5 minutes and 16 seconds. Not as late as on the first map, which was Koda, right? Which was 5 minutes and 30 seconds, but it's still damn late. Of course, Mana is building a lot of workers during all this, but this is the thing I mentioned as well. It's just oversaturation at this point. Up to 20 workers, your mining is pretty effective, but after 20, you know, it just starts falling off at rapid speed.
That's a pretty quick blink being researched there, by the way. I wonder how many gateways he's gonna go for. On this map, we've seen builds with as high as, you know, sometimes 5, 6 gateways, doing really well with the blink like this. It should be a one-way trip for the Reaper. He's really trying to snipe it before he can see the Twilight Council, but I think it's going to be able to see it anyway.
Didn't he see it already when he hopped into the main base?
Did he? Oh, yeah. Why is he trying to go this way? I thought he went straight for the middle line.
But this Stalker on the other side of the map is going to be a little bit annoying over here for Mana, for Happy. But Happy, once again, with his 3-Rex, he's going to be more than fine.
If the gateways were very late, by the way.
Yeah, if I was Mana, I wouldn't go for crazy aggression, Todd, because I think if you open up with Blink Stalkers, you kind of hope that you play against Factory follow-up, right? Like, you don't really want to play against a Terran that opens up with 3-Rex, and like you already mentioned, it's not very surprising that Happy is opening up with a 3-Rex.
Faking it might be a lot better, I guess. To like force some bunkers, really put the Terran in the defensive posture while you tech to Colossus, and then you can go for the third base.
Yeah, and get just a lot of probes at home. You know, maybe you will force Happy to throw down a bunker. Maybe he will have a couple SCVs idling over here. Happy is misreading this game, and that's actually for the first time I think in this series. He's throwing down missile turrets, Todd. He's a little bit worried.
DTs. That's what he thinks.
You saw the? Did you see the IEM game of parting against XY? where he wiped in DTs over here. Like, he got the pylon over here, and then he wiped in DTs.
Oh, I saw
over here.
that today in the Chinese qualifier for MSI. I casted one game where somebody did that.
It's so sick, right?
Yeah. I didn't even. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I want to use that.
I saw Parting use it as well, and poor XY, he had his missile turret over here, and then suddenly there are 3 DTs in his middle line. He's like, how did that happen? You know? I didn't know it either. And then suddenly he's like, oh, new map, new futures. Both Marauders survived, but they did take a lot of damage.
Where's the Robobay, though? That Mana needs to start quickly here behind this. He's still going to commit on more Stalkers.
Oh, one hit, one kill. Gets 2 Marauders there. That's very nice. I mean, Happy was a little stubborn by not getting a bonk, I thought. And now this is starting to get a little bit dicey. Stimpack is ready, so now Mana has to be very careful. Oh god, Mana.
Yeah.
Don't overstep your boundaries.
He needs to make sure he saturates his natural here. Robobay finally started, an Observer as well. And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a very quick third base by Mana behind this.
Oh man,
some
I really
good
feel
shots.
that. I feel that Mana is slowly but steady getting into his element. We can really see him grow in this series. Just the first 2 games, almost absolutely nothing went his way, but he kept his head up. Somehow came back in game number 3, where the start was also not phenomenal. Just kept his cool, and now I really feel this is the first time where I see like, man, this is the way that I love watching Mana play PvT.
Yeah.
He's dictating the pace of the game. He's making it hard for Happy to figure out what's going on. Happy's being a little bit paranoid. He's under a lot of pressure. He's down in workers severely. Mana's up 12 workers. Robobay finishing up, going up to 3 bases while still having so much map presence. I love everything that Mana has done so far.
Yeah, he's done a pretty good job of really keeping Happy pinned back at home. Gonna start another turret actually at his natural here. Happy being still fairly paranoid. While the third Nexus has already started. We should be seeing a gateway explosion here in a second from Mana, maybe even a Forge.
Yeah, he's probably going to just add a lot of gateways. You want to make sure that, you know.
I like this build from Mana, but it's really hard to pull off, I feel. You know, it's the build that Zest used for a very long time when he did very well against Tern back at the Intel Extreme Masters Toronto, actually. That was his only build, you know. He did that, and he actually made a Warp Prism back then to fly into the middle line and drop Zealots before starting Colossus production. But I guess in this game, since Mana really wanted to play aggressive, he didn't take the third base nearly as fast, and he's done really well with it.
Second starport already going down. Mana spots it with his Observer. That's a very important little scout over here. So it gives him a tell that maybe... I mean, going up to multiple Colossus is not necessarily the wrong decision. Like, there's never really a bad moment to have 5 Colossus in almost any matchup. But...
the thing about this build, and if Mana plays it the Zest way, is that you cut Colossus after 3. And then you go into Charge and Immortals instead of getting Colossus. And then you add the Templar Archives and go into Storm. You never get more than Colossus than 3, unless like you're winning, or you know for a fact that he only has 1 starport and you know you can shut him down, or maybe against Maru style. But having spotted the second starport here is huge. I really think that if Mana cuts Colossus after 3, goes into Charge very quickly, he's going to do very well.
I mean, Mana is up 17 supply. That just shows how well he's been doing in this game. He's still up 13 workers as well. He's going to get 1 Marauder there before this party starts. He has Colossus over here. That Pioneer's going to get sniped, but he should be able to keep his Nexus alive. Force fields maybe? 1 very well, 2 unfortunate Marines.
Oh, I really like the pylon, by the way, on the top right-hand side to spot any potential drop. He's going to chase you a little bit. Ooh. Or actually more than a little bit. Blinks forward very far. Yeah, you see that pylon at the top there by Mana? That's the Zest pylon to spot the drops coming.
You're very onto the Zest train right now, Todd.
Yeah, man. No, but it's really, it's the Zest build.
No, I believe you. Dark Shrine is going down.
Okay, that's not the
that's
the has build.
You should have just said. You should have just said like, oh yeah, I saw Zest do this the other day. I would have loved.
Actually, I think sometimes he did this, but most of the time he played it a lot more standard. You know, went into Charge.
I mean, Mana is in such a phenomenal position. He's up 17 workers. Still no third command center. Like, what is Happy gonna do? Pull SCVs? He doesn't even have a whole lot of SCVs to pull, Todd. He's definitely gonna pull SCVs. There's no other way around it, right?
Yeah, it's looking like it.
All in or all out. You're Terran or you're not. I mean, Happy is gonna pull the workers, but I almost see there's no way that this is going to work. And if Mana can go to game number 5 after the way that the first 2 games played out and the way that game number 3 started, I was really worried for Mana here that we were looking at a sweep and an extremely one-sided series. But suddenly the tables have turned. It's so crazy how momentum can swing like that in StarCraft. It's just no matter how much StarCraft I watch, I will never be able to truly understand how these things happen. If you look at game number 1 and game number 2, yes, if anyone tells me Mana's going to win game 3 and 4, I would almost say that you're crazy. And now he's just slowly but steady pulling it off.
Yeah, he's been doing well 5 more gates on the way as well as charge, which should finish before this hits, I think. No SCVs pulled though. Really surprised by this.
He has to, no?
What? Why is he not? He wants to fight just with this, I guess. Trade against the Colossus, and then maybe with keeping his economy going, he's going to have a lot of barracks to keep on reinforcing and try and finish it with some endless kiting. That's usually how you win this game.
All right, he gets one Colossus to start things off, so that's very nice for Mana. But, you know, Charge is going to, or excuse me for Happy, but Charge is going to be ready soon. There are Dark Templars in the mix as well, which is very hard to spot in a fight like this.
I mean, that Archon is hugging those units to death here. And I mean, with the reinforcements here coming in from Mana, remember he's got charge.
And remember, he's got Zealots in the natural as well, and Happy is just going to tap out. As there were Zealots, there were 5 Zealots on the top side of the map that we showed before that were running into the natural. And, you know, Happy just realized, like, okay, if I'm not crushing him in this fight, and it's 3 bases against 2, there is no way I'm going to be able to win this game anymore. And just like that, Mana has evened things up, Todd. I did not expect this after the first 2 games. This is no way.
Yeah, me neither. I thought it was going to be a good old 3-0. I was ready to complain about Terran, but I guess Happy gets Protossed in the next 2 maps. The better player just won, didn't he?
Let's take a look.
Both players really like going hard at it. You can see...
oh my god. I was like, I want to see what game number 5 is, because I'm not exactly sure. Make a guess, Todd. Look at my face and make a guess. Come on. You don't even have to.
Moonlight Madness?
No. Dash and Terminal.
Oh god.
I cannot believe.
Yeah, but it's Happy though. Like he's not gonna fly to the gold or like do something super.
Yeah, well, I hope that he's not gonna go Reaper Expand, because that's really bad on this map. Like, Dash and Terminal is ridiculous because there are so many extreme hard counters that go 2 ways, you know, either in Protoss or in Terran's favor. That it's just crazy. We saw Parting opening up with the 10-gate Mothership Core rush against Bunny on Home Series Cup, and Parting won that game without losing a single unit. It was a flawless victory. Mothership Core got 6-7 kills. Talker shows up, killed the Reaper. Reaper wasn't able to hop into the main base because Protoss can build their buildings on the edge, and it was just flawless. You know, he didn't lose a single unit. Game over. So from that on, every Terran looks like, well, I guess we don't go Reaper Expand on this map. So a lot of Terrans, they started picking up and going to the gold and do quite okay with it again. But then some Protoss players started proxying the Terrans that would go to the gold and just proxy the gate, you know. And and then, like, you can't really do anything as a Terran because it's too much surface area to cover by 1 bunker. So it's like this weird cycle. What are you going to do?
Some Protosses, like Lilbo, actually, they make Blink Stalkers and then they go behind the mineral line and the natural to try and shoot SCVs.
Yeah, from the high ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can even cannon rush as well. Have you seen that? I think Bly did this against Utermo. I think Utermo's watching, so don't hate me, Mark. But I think what he did is he built a hatchery in the old main base of Utermo, and then he had creep, and then he got 2 spine crawlers from the high ground, just these spines like knocking down SCVs.
Utermo was happy, right?
No, he was not happy. He was not very pleased. But it may have not been Utermo, but I'm pretty sure it was. And I think Bly pulled a good old death row and uploaded the game to YouTube. It's the only way to do it, Todd. The victories you're totally proud of. So game number 5, it is going to be played on Dash and Terminal. By far and away, the craziest map. We've seen it make into a WCS map pool in a long time. I can't wait to see what happens. Like, you know, I always like to make some predictions. Like, I think this is going to happen, that's going to happen. No idea. Dash Terminal, I have absolutely no idea, Todd.
Does it remind you of any map?
Yeah,
like Habitation Station or something?
Scrap Station a little bit.
Okay.
I mean, the way that the gold plays out.
Protosses were taking the gold a lot, by the way, towards the end of like the lifeline of some of these maps. They were taking themselves a whole bunch, which we really haven't seen, I feel, on this one. But maybe it's time. A proxy target into gold.
It's hard though, because it's such a huge arc that your units have to walk, and as Protoss, you never really like want to have such a wide open space to defend. Either way, man, I'm so excited for this. I can't believe they are playing such an important series, and it's gonna close out over here on Dash and Terminal. It's a very, very big game for both these players. One from Poland, one from Russia, and they both want to make it to Poland eventually, as of course that is where the WCS Grand Finals will be happening in a month and a couple weeks. I believe it's like 20th of September or so. Either way, over here on the right side of Dash and Terminal, we're looking at the base of our Russian Terran player. It is Happy, a WCS Premier League veteran, once more. Made it into 7 out of 8 seasons. Is it going to be 8 out of 9? Or is it going to be 7 out of 9?
Either way, all we will remember is that he failed 1 time. No, that he made it this many times. Okay.
Yeah, that's super impressive. And over here on the top side of Dash Terminal, the man So far, he's working on a great comeback. He had a phenomenal comeback in Challenger Season 2 against Hero Marine. Was down 2-1. Was able to make it to Game 5. Was losing Game 5, but somehow still won and made it to Premier League. This would be an even greater comeback. It is Liquid's very own Mana. Down 2-0 in this series. But played so solid, so well in game number 3 and game number 4.
He's actually scouting very early here in this game. I guess he wants to make sure that Happy didn't fly to the gold or anything like that. Against which you want to know as soon as possible if it's happening or not.
You know, I know there are a lot of Terran players and also a lot of Protoss players that just veto this map. This is the type of map that doesn't make it into your best of 3 map pool. But there's a good chance that Mana just vetoed. What do you think he vetoed?
Oh, Moonlight Madness was vetoed, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't played.
Yep. And what's the other map that wasn't played?
Well, you're always testing me. Right?
I gotta see if that passion is still alive. Though. I've seen you.
Hey, I saw you rank 2 Masters, right?
No, rank 1 on 3 accounts.
Hey, not Grandmaster though.
No, I know it's full.
Like me.
It's full.
Yeah, exactly.
It's full.
With me.
Yeah, you're one of those guys that like sneaked in the opening week and
Says you.
and then
Oh my god.
and then just keeps the bonus pool like low enough so he doesn't drop out.
Dear Lord.
And then there is this hard-working Protoss that I am.
You got some time after the show to play, or I will shut you down.
All right, so the eBay has even finished up. Now, if people wonder why would you ever let it finish up, that's because this is a map where the rush distance by air is extremely close. So there's a big chance that Mana is just going to drop a very quick Stargate, follow this up with an Oracle,
Yeah.
and then finishing that eBay will at least allow Happy to drop a very quick missile turret. He may lose an engineering bay later on, but it's worth the investment.
It's funny actually how it plays out. I mean, even letting the eBay finish in itself, it's so annoying for Mana. It's going to take forever to clean up. He's not even starting to work on it. Just go for the gold.
Yeah.
Not it, man.
Well, Happy was actually worried about that thought because he had an SCV on patrol over here at the gold. Perhaps hiding it a little bit as well. Want to see what's going on. I like the gasless fast expand here by Happy. I mentioned this already at Homesteader Cup that I think this is the best opening for Terran on this map. I think taking the gold can be very good too though. And now we do see that Stargate already being wiped in all the way in the back of the base.
He's not going to have any way to know what's up though. That's which is for Happy here really the hard thing to do. You know, to know what's up, so he has to get a turret no matter what.
But I think as a Terran player, you shouldn't make things bigger than it is. Right now, all you need to think of is, I have a better economy than my opponent, I have 3 Rexes, and I'm going to get a missile turret in my main. So I am safe against pretty much everything. What are you going to do? I have no idea, but I know for now, my position is good. And I think it's very important to approach the matchup like that.
Yeah. Too bad no one of them does it. They're all like trying to counter everything. And we have the first tech lab here being added on one of the barracks. The follow-up SCV scout wants to see if that Nexus was dropped down in natural, but gonna get shut down. That's very nice for Mana here. He's really gonna keep Happy wondering.
Yep, throws on a scan.
Oh, he misses the target.
Yep.
But there's a cheeky pylon actually in the back door here of Mana around his natural. I wonder what he might go for there, if anything.
What does Mana know? Mana knows absolute. Well, he saw the Rex, he saw Gasless, so I guess he's put it together. I actually think it would have been quite cool.
Oh, the gates. Look at this. That pylon, man.
Whoa.
1, 2,
oh my
3.
God. Mana's gonna go crazy over here in game number 5, Todd. Really? With everything on the line?
He's already got a probe sneaking.
Oh, is he gonna make
across the
multiple
map.
oracles? Didn't Rain do this in one of his games? Where he made like 4 oracles and a gateway all in?
I think you can, but he's going to rely more on the ground army here to try and buzz this. You see, like he's going to get as many sentries as he can with his gas, let them build up on energy, and then go for a big Zealot sentry attack here with Guardian Shield, Force Fields. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah.
You can bring the Mothership Core as well and use Time Warp.
And it's probably something that Happy absolutely does not expect. Oh my God, I'm actually getting nervous. I don't know why I'm getting nervous, you know. It doesn't really matter to me who wins, Todd, but this is just, it's so tense because everything is going to come down to this one game over here, this one attack. Happy doesn't know that Mana is going to do something very crazy over here on this already very crazy map. Just has 1 stock outside of the natural. No bunker. Maybe has Mana picked up on the fact that Happy has been pretty damn stubborn when it comes to making bunkers.
It was so smart to only get 1 Oracle like this because Happy is massing turrets. He's getting 2 more. He's going to go up to 3 turrets early on in a game like this where he's already behind in walkers. That means that he's going to have less bio to work with. And I mean, against a 4-gate like this,
okay, so
it's actually awkward because Mana is all on the map with his units and he has to come back now.
And this is actually a pretty strong force as well. It has combat shield.
Yeah,
No
but I mean,
stim,
photon
though.
overcharge plus time
Yeah.
warp. I think Mana is gonna have enough on the ground to crush this and then counterattack. The thing is, it's gonna give Happy a lot of time to get bunkers back at home.
I think without stim, this army is not very intimidating at all. Oh my god, if Happy loses these units, though, if they get force fielded in, well, a couple runs. The units coming in from behind as well, they're gonna go for the doubles. Force field sandwich! It's a thing! That's so sick! Happy's gonna lose almost all of his units over here. Doesn't really kill a whole lot in return. And what do you do right now if you're Happy, man? He has no
You start
armies.
4 bunkers at home.
No, I would almost evacuate. He can't defend. He has nothing. That was so... Oh my god, Mana is actually going to go for the greatest turnaround over here. Being down 0-2 in a series that means so much to him. He wants to make it to Premier League so badly. Wants to make it to the round of 16 to play in front of that Polish crowd. Looked hopeless in game number 1 and game number 2.
And Happy understands the gravity here right now. He started a Widow Mine, he's getting more bio, but only 2 bunkers. That's really not going to be enough either way, and they're not even finishing.
Even if they finish that, he has 1 Marine. It's a bunker finishing up with 1 Marine
He
in
has
it.
1 Marine, okay. GG, I guess. Mana with a great comeback here in this series.
Wow.
Being down 0-2, everybody was writing him off.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, you, me, both. We looked at each other. I saw in your eyes.
Yeah. No,
Your
it's
eyes
true.
said Mana's done.
Yeah, no, he kind of looked on, especially with the way that game number 3 opened up as well, and Iron Fortress not being a friendly map. What a remarkable comeback over here by Mana. What a moment to do it as well, you know. Often people are down 0-2 and they turn it around, but then you look at it, it's like, well, you know, that's great. You made it to the semifinals of an online tournament or something, but, you know, this is WCS Premier League. Mana just qualified for the final season against a very, very tough opponent, because once again, Happy being a WCS Premier League veteran. And I think, Todd, you really nailed it earlier when you said that Happy can become a little bit predictable and he's extremely repetitive. Mana capitalized on that, especially in the final game. He really did capitalize so much.
It took him some time, though, to get into high gears. Like those first 2 games, they really weren't that convincing by Mana, I have to say. I was really worried that he was falling apart and was going to be 0-3, but in the end, able to stay calm. Even after all those probes that were dying, you kept on mentioning how frustrating it must be for him. And in the end, I guess he kept his composure really well.
Yep. I'm so impressed over here with Mana, and I think he's extremely happy and extremely pleased. Like, I can't wait to see what he's going to tweet out, Todd, because it's going to be a tweet full of joy for sure. Obviously,
I am at happy SC2 to advance to Premier League.
Oh, no, you can't do that. You can definitely not do that one. Man, poor Happy played so good in game number 1, game number 2. But in the end, it wasn't going to be enough. The Polish Protoss, and of course Team Liquid, again Team Liquid with a great start in WCS Premier League, will advance. That's 1. I believe our next series is going to be Snoot versus Serral. Is that correct? So maybe a little bit. Yep, that is correct. Thumbs up from our producer. That's going to be a really cool Scandinavian ZVZ. Serral, definitely one of the most talented players in Europe. And of course, Snoot, one of the most established players and one of the best players in Europe for a long, long time. Lots of roaches, I think, Todd, and another Team Liquid member as well. It's going to be fun. Stay tuned. You're watching WCS Challenger Day 1.